Hi guys, and welcome back to another video game with powers. I'm Jake, and in today's video we are going to be continuing our top 100 favorite games in our collection. In today's video I will be going over my 80th through 71st favorite game that we have here in our collection. Now I have used the online website Pub Meeple to go ahead and put out this ranking here. If you guys are not familiar with Pub Meeple, it is a website where you can essentially link your BGG account to it, or not even, I wouldn't even say link. You can just type in your BGG account and it'll pull up all of your games that you have selected as owned or collected in your BGG account location. You must have a BGG account in order to grab that information, and it's going to put all the games in a list for you. Then you can go ahead and rank those games simply by, it's going to put one game right next to each other and you are going to pick and choose. And after a couple pretty much hours of doing this, it's going to spew out this list. So let's go ahead and jump right into today's video, starting off with game number 80. Alright guys, so taking a look at my number 80 is going to be Dungeons, Dice, and Danger. Now, Dungeons, Dice, and Danger is a roll and write game where you are going to be rolling, let me zoom my camera in here, you are going to be rolling some dice here, and you are going to be making pairs with these dice to create numbers to fill in the numbers corresponding on your board, and so, or map or per se. So there is a couple different maps here in the base game, each with a different theme and different challenges. And so, like I said, it's super simple, super fun. It is very strategic though, because and it is very tense, especially when you get down to having filled out almost like 80% of your map. And so the overall goal is the player that defeats all of the little bosses in the game is going to be the victor. And so, like I said, it's super simple. You roll some dice, make a pair. So like you have a 6 right here. So then you would look on your board, and you have to go adjacent to where you've previously gone before. You can't just skip all over the map, and you'd fill in a 6. And so you're trying to progress through these different points to get to these bad guys here on your map in order to defeat them. And in order to deal a damage to them, there's a specific number or numbers that you are going to have to roll. And you have all these cool little special abilities and what like that. And if you are the active player, you get to roll the black dice and use 5 dice to make 2 pairs instead of 4 dice to make 2 pairs. If you are not the active player, you must only use the white dice. This is a unique and fun and interesting roll and write game. So this is my number 80 favorite game, my 80th favorite game in our collection here, Dungeons, Dice, and Danger. Alrighty, moving on to number 79. We have Isle of Trains All Aboard. Isle of Trains All Aboard is, man, I don't know what to classify this game as, but this is a 1 to 4 player game around 60 minutes, ages 12 plus. And I just realized I forgot to talk about Dungeons, Dice, and Danger. 1 to 4 player game, 30 to 45 minutes, ages 2 plus there. But back to Isle of Trains. Man, I guess when I say like hand management or card management is really the mechanic here. You could also say pick up and deliver as well, but not so much. But the overall premise of Isle of Trains All Aboard is you are building out a train, okay? And so you're going to have different cabooses and things like that you're going to be able to put on your train. And what you essentially want to do is there's a couple things you can do. Is you can take passengers, like collect passengers, load them up on your train, then drop them off in these different city points. There's different contracts that you can fill in these cities with resources. But what makes this game really interesting here is your cards are used to do everything. So the cards you have in your hand are used as money to add new train cars to your train line, right? Your cards in your hand are also used as resources to help fill these contracts. And then, of course, you have meeples that you will need to put these passengers in, and then you will drop these passengers off at these specific locations. So I just love this is the only train game we have in our collection, so I like the train theme, but I love how they packed so much in this tiny little box here. There is a big game in here for a tiny box, and the strategic depth of that hand management and that card management of using your cards for, do I trade these cards in to use as resources? Do I spend these cards to play a caboose down or something like that? Very cool, very awesome, and it's just this reminds me of like the Tiny Epic series where you got a big game in a small box, and I do really enjoy this one. So this is my 79th favorite game, Isle of Trains. All aboard. All right, number 78, we have Flappy Families. Flappy Families is a 2 to 5 player game, 20 minutes, ages 6+. And Flappy Families is a set collection memory game where these bird cards are going to be down here on a table, and your overall goal is to collect different sets of these birds. And so like there's different types of these birds, and the more of one bird that you collect, the more points that you're going to score. But what makes the game really unique is it's this memory and matching type game where all of these cards are face down, and so on your turn you will flip one card face up, and then you have a couple options. You can take that card that you flip face up into your hand, or you can flip over another face down card, and if both those cards match with the type here, then you can get both those cards back to your hand, or you can kind of flip and replace the cards here out on the board. Now there are some predator cards that you can take into your hand, and basically if you flip over a predator card, your turn immediately ends, but you take that predator card into your hand and then you can kind of put it back out. But a really unique, family-friendly, memory matching and set collection game here, Flappy Families, and it plays really quick as well. This is always like one of our go-to games to either start a game night or as like a refresh game, and it's also a very good introductory game, and little kids can play it as well. So this is my 78th favorite game in our collection, Flappy Families. Alrighty, moving on to number 77 here, and I'm gonna have to zoom out the camera. We have Dog Park. Okay, now Dog Park is essentially a, let me flip the box over here for you so you can see kind of the background. Dog Park is a, I don't really know what you want to call it. Maybe like I really don't want to say a set collection type game, but it is essentially a game. Drafting is probably the better word. The main crux of the game is you are going to be drafting these dogs from the dog park, right? And you're going to be betting on these certain dogs using your own reputation. You draft these dogs into your little kennel area, and then what you're trying to do is gain resources by walking through this park in order to walk these dogs. So there's a couple different phases to the game. Like I said, the main phase is that drafting phase, and then you're going to use your resources to walk these dogs out into the dog park and basically score points. And then, they have different scoring objectives over here on the right hand side. But we do own the collector's edition. We also own the new expansion, Dog Park New Tricks, and we have not tried that yet. So I'm curious to see if we try that, does my rating of Dog Park go up? But for me, I think this game is a good game, but since we primarily play a lot of our games at 2 players, I don't really like games where when you're playing with 2 players, you have to have like a AI walker or something like that, right? I want to be able to just play with 2 players. So when you play Dog Park with 2 players, you do have to have like another AI walker, so you have to get more components out and different things like that. And for us, we just don't enjoy enjoy two-player games that way, and that's kind of the sense for me. But I do love the presentation of the game. I do love all the copious amounts of dogs here. Sierra really enjoys this game, but for me, I just don't like that when we're playing at 2 players, we have to add in this AI walker as well. So this is my 77th favorite game in our collection here, Dog Park. Alrighty, moving on to number 76, we have Sobek 2 players. Now, this is a brand new game to our collection. I was able to pick this up on a sale that Pandasaurus was having for like $9.99 a while ago, and it's kind of just sat on our shelf and we never opened it. But since that time that we've opened it, man, I have really enjoyed this Sobek. It is a really good 2-player only game, right? This is going to be about 20 minutes and ages 10 plus. This is going to be a set collection game where these tiles are going to be placed on the board. You are going to be moving this Ankh pawn, and you can only move it in, or you can only take a tile in the direction of the row that these pointers are facing. So in this example here, it is facing in this entire row right here. So I would only be allowed to take a tile in these rows. And then if you can see, let me zoom in here for you. And then if you can see on these tiles, there are like edges that are browned out. And so that is the direction you are going to need to move that Ankh. So then the next player can only draft in that direction. But super simple, really cool 2-player game that me and Sierra like about set collection. And I think we do really enjoy this game because hopefully, maybe not a spoiler, but it could be. We do really enjoy Seven Wonders Duel as well. And so Bruno Cathala has designed this game, and Bruno Cathala also designed Seven Wonders Duel. So no shock here for me as to why I really enjoy Sobek 2 players. But this is my 76th favorite game in our collection here. All right, moving on to number 75, we have Century Golem Edition Eastern Mountains. So this is the Golem Edition of Century, and Eastern Mountains here is the second game of 3. And in this version, or this game of Century, we are going to have a board or an area built from these different map tiles. You are going to have a little caravan. You are going around to these different tiles. You're trying to get these little outposts out, right? And then once your outposts are out, you are going to be able to trade in resources here that you have collected, or gems that you have collected for other colors and different types of gems. Now, your overall goal is there are going to be these victory point tiles on these different villages, like you can see here, and you will need to land your little caravan on that tile and then have that required amount of gems in your caravan in order to collect this tile. And so you're trying to collect a certain number of tiles in order to end the game. Now, this version here is 8 plus 2 to 4 players and 30 to 45 minutes. I really enjoy the Golem editions of Century. I just love the gems and the feeling of the gems and just the overall presentation. In the original version of Century, they just come with little small cubes. I know there's been kind of a running joke. You could kind of use like actual spice or whatever, right? I think I've heard that off the Dice Tower and other content creators as well. But I just really enjoy the overall presentation of the Golem edition with these gems. They just feel really nice in your hand and they just look really good on the table. But like I said, this is the second game in the series, Century Golem Edition Eastern Mountains, my 75th favorite game in our collection. Alrighty, moving on to number 74, we have Rolling Realms. So Rolling Realms is a roll and write game, 1 to 6 players, ages 14 plus, and 30 minutes here. And Rolling Realms, as it says, is a simple roll and write. So they are going to have these different realm cards, and each player is going to have the same amount of realm cards, like the exact same copies of realm cards. But each of these different realm cards has like its own unique mini game. And let me bring it in closer here. Each of these realm cards has its own unique mini game, and once the dice is rolled, depending on the number of the rolls, you get to choose how you want to allocate that dice across your 3 different cards. And you're trying to basically beat the mini game or win the mini game and collect these stars. And based on the number of stars that you get, you will get kind of a scorecard and a rating after each of these rounds. And so the player with the most, their highest rating at the end, or victory points, is going to be the winner. But again, this is one of those unique roll and writes where you're using a dry erase marker to write on everything. And I just really enjoy games like this. I really enjoy Rolling Realms for the uniqueness and almost like this mini game aspect. This reminds me a lot of kind of like a Mario Party type game where you just have so many different mini games within a game itself. They do have an abundance of expansions that me and Sierra want to look at getting, to adding in some more of these different realm cards here. But this is my 74th favorite game in our collection, Rolling Realms. All right, moving on to number 73, we have Fantastic Factories. Fantastic Factories is a 1 to 5 player game, 45 to 60 minutes, ages 14 plus. And Fantastic Factories is a dice rolling, hand management, tableau building game where essentially what you are doing is you are going to have a hand of cards. You are going to be using those cards as resources to play these different factory cards, right? Constructing these different factories out in a tableau in front of you, and then you're going to be rolling some dice, and depending on what these dice rolls are, you're going to be allocating in them for research, drawing cards, generate resources, mine for metal, or using, the overall goal is to use these factories to produce goods, which are victory points at the end of the game. And so then you also have the ability, there's going to be like a drafting phase where you can draft some more cards or draft workers here, that, or contractors is what they call them, to help you for that specific round. Now, I'm actually surprised that Fantastic Factories here is this low on my list. Usually I would have guessed that this would have been really higher. I really did enjoy Fantastic Factories when this game first came out. Like, this was one of my top 20 easily favorite games. I was playing this all the time, but I think this is just so low on my list just because I haven't got it to the table a whole lot recently, probably within the last, I don't think I've gotten this game to the table in probably about 4 to 6 months, and so I think that's might have dropped the rating on this game for me. But I really do enjoy this game. It's super simple. It's almost too simple, but I just enjoy that drafting, putting down these different factories, building that tableau, and then kind of running this chain of different factories, because you can like use dice to chain this factory and then use that item or that resource to then use for this factory. And it's cool having all of these different chains that you can create with this game. But for me, very fun, very interesting dice rolling, hand management, drafting type game. This is Fantastic Factories, my 73rd favorite game in our collection. Alrighty, moving on to number 72, we have Doomlings, okay? Now, this does include the new expansion, Doomlings Overlush. And Doomlings is a very simple, let me see, I don't have the back of it, but let me just throw out a card here for you. And Doomlings is a very simple card game where you're going to have a hand of cards. On your turn, you are trying to play And let me see if I can get one. All right, you are trying to play a card that looks something like this, and all of these different cards have funny looking names. They have funny looking text to them, like a one-liner almost, and a lot of funny puns and things like that. And these cards are going to have points in the bottom left-hand corner, and you are essentially trying to play and score cards, trying to play these cards that score the most points. But the challenge is you are going to have what's called these age cards here, and each of these age cards are going to put almost like a restriction on you for that specific round. And so it's a very fun, very simple, very easy game. We actually don't really play this a whole lot at 2 players. We usually play this a lot with like 4 or 5 players, and I don't actually know the actual player count of the game, but let me get that here for you if it says it in the rule book at some point. I don't think it does. Oh, there it is. 2 to 6 players, 20 to 45 minutes, ages 10 plus. Now, we primarily play this at 4 to 6 players, funny enough, and the game actually still flows really well, but very fun. I know it's taken a lot of criticism. They have taken a lot of criticism with that Doomlings Overlush Kickstarter, but we finally ended up getting that content. We mixed that content in with the original Doomlings, and it plays out for a very fun and unique game. But my 72nd favorite game in our collection, Doomlings, and also I'm throwing Doomlings Overlush in there as well. Alrighty, time for the last one, number 71. We have Shake That City. Shake That City is a very unique game here where you are going to have this, the main stick and selling point of this game is this cube shaker that you put these cubes in here, shake them up, you push this button, and they come out evenly in this 3x3 grid. And the overall premise of the game is you are going to have this little city board, and each of these colored cubes represent a different type of tile. So like red is a housing district tile, green is a park tile, blue is a shop or a market tile, black is a factory. And so you are essentially a city planner, and you are trying to build this city out. But the caveat here is whatever formation that your color that you decide to choose of cubes are, you have to copy that exact formation on your board. So you can look at this example here. You see that this player has decided to choose blue. So they would take 2 blue of these shop tiles, and you see 1 blue there. They are diagonal from each other, so he must place them exactly diagonal from each other on his grid. And so that is the unique part of the game. In every round, there's 15 total rounds in the game, there's going to be what's considered an active player. The active player will select his color first, and then the other players have to select a different color tile or cube in this row than the first player. So this example, active player takes blue. The other players have to choose a different color other than blue. Now, these other players can choose the same color, so they could all choose red or green. They cannot just choose the color of the active player. But this is a fun game, a unique game. Really, this shaker is the selling point, and I'm just amazed at how accurate this shaker is always be. Like, I think maybe in the 3 or 4 times that we've played this game over the course of 100+ rounds, the shaker has only messed up once or twice of not being able to put out this 3x3 grid in that exact formation. But like 99% of the time, it's going to put this out in the exact rows. But 20 to 40 minutes for a player, 1 to 4 players, ages 10 plus. This is my 71st favorite game in our collection, Shake That City. All right, guys, so that is it for our video today. I hope you guys are enjoying this list. If you guys own any of the games that you have seen today, go ahead and drop down in the comments. Tell me what are your thoughts and opinions on the games, and are they ranked higher up on your list and why? Also, if you guys enjoyed this content, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and as always, guys, if you are not subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe so we can keep bringing you some more awesome content. All right, guys, y'all have a great one. Bye.